Welcome to the second Wealthy Boomer interview with Barry Fish, the co-author of Where There's an Inheritance. Welcome back, Barry.
A pleasure.
I was just looking at the back cover, and it was interesting, some of the things you promised the reader. He blew it for the family. How could my brother stoop so low? Duped by my children. If only I could get a second chance. Can you ever forgive your sibling? This is about emotions as much as about money, isn't it?
They converge in reality. The financial aspect in this book is sort of one tributary of the river, and the emotional side is the other. On the financial side, you have the question, tell me something I don't know. Because people are of the view that in the end these are logical instruments. However, there are twists and turns as follows. What about if you have a child who has been very close to you and a child who's been very hostile, estranged, and you really focus your love on the one who, I'll use the word, deserves it.
The good daughter as opposed to the estranged son.
Exactly. And yet, when you come to make your peace at the, presumably at the time of your life when you kind of see the horizon, if I can put it that way, you're not altogether comfortable in just cutting out a child. It's your blood, and you want to do something. So, the logic, sure, what you do, give 95% to the good daughter and 5% to the bad son. And then you pass. And you pass in peace, but you also pass in ignorance, because what then happens, or what can happen, is that the personalities come out. And the viciousness that caused the estrangement hasn't gone away and is now turned by the brother on his sister. The sister is the sole executor. She's got 95% of the pie, but he's challenging absolutely every move she makes. Every attempt to liquidate an asset, every single administrative step she takes is challenged, and when it comes to her own fees for executor, they're challenged. A barrage of demands for accounting, questions, second-guessing, that sort of thing.
And all this because in the will it was specified as a percentage rather than an absolute figure.
Exactly.
It would have been a lot simpler not to do the percentage.
Exactly the point I was about to make, that we say if only the son had 10 grand, then the daughter right away writes a check for 10 grand and goodbye, he's out of her hair and she's alone. That is the illustration, tell me of something, the illustration of the expression, tell me something I don't know. People aren't aware of the distinction between giving a money gift on the one hand and a percentage gift on the other. And that's the animated expression of the difference between those two types of gift. Now, there are other illustrations on the financial side in the book on the same point, tell me something I don't know. What about the debt forgiveness clause? Sounds very logical. The parent wants to be nice to the kids. I'm going to forgive all the debts. But you know, you make a will in 1970. By the year 2008 or 2009 or 2010, a lot of water's gone under the bridge. There may have been financial difficulties, all kinds of advances made. They may not be equal, they may not be proportionate, and in the end, it's expected that this money which was given to one child would be repaid, but the debt forgiveness clause, which was buried back in the 1970 will, eliminates that.
Which is not really fair if one child was forgiven a $200,000 debt and the other a $10,000 debt. So, but the emotion, the dominant emotion that comes into play here, is it not greed? I mean, you must have a rather jaundiced view of human nature when you see all these greedy, nasty people walking through one's offices.
I call it broken glass on the desk. All the greed and the venom, hatred, it all comes out because when you split up the pizza when you're a little boy with your sister, that same emotion, that same tendency didn't go away. It expresses itself once again.
And I remember a line from one of your first books, that when you get a letter from your brother's lawyer, your relationship with your brother will never be the same.
Oh, yes, that's absolutely true.
One last question for this segment, Barry. This book is, I know you get a lot of publicity in the United States, particularly on U.S. talk radio. I believe this new book has been mentioned on the New York Times website.
Yes.
How much do these stories cross the border? How much are they Canadian versus U.S.?
I can't give you a specific breakdown offhand in the book. They're probably close to 50-50. And we find that the treatment of the subject in Canada is a little bit more sensitive, a little softer than the approach in the U.S. It's a little more adversary, a little more hostile. That's our impression from the feedback and the stories we have been told.
Okay, well, thank you, Barry Fish, the co-author of Where There's an Inheritance. You can find more information at www.aninheritance.com. And next time we're going to talk about more about the emotional side of inheritance and wills as disputes. Thank you, Barry Fish.
Pleasure.